What is going on, BitChute? I have returned. Hopefully, if this video has been edited correctly, then by all means everything should be going fine. You should be having some Warzone gameplay in the background. Put a like on this video if you want like more of this kind of state instead of just me talking during the game and there's terrible audio in the background and whatnot. If you end up hearing music, that's because neighbors and parents. But anyway, let's talk about it. Modern Warfare 1 year later. As a whole, judging this game based from the beginning, I would have to give it, at the very start on launch, I would give it a 9.7. Due to the great story, the gunsmith in the game, the maps, and how we thought there was going to be more variety, especially coming into it with the nighttime and the ground war, the different modes. We thought there was really going to be a push of more and more and more. So, alright, let's start off with the modes. Modes, there was more. There really was more. They brought in creative modes that if you wanted to grind up for your guns, you could. I believe it was boys only want one thing, and it's disgusting. And I think it was a 10v10 on shipment. Yes, it was the greatest thing ever. You could level up your gun. You could do practically anything you wanted. I was able to get freaking chopper gunner on that one time. It was so fun. I enjoyed that. Shoot House came into the game later on, and it helped you grind it out. Now those modes, they were practically fun. Now they have a team deathmatch, snipers only. Those creative modes where it restricts you or it pushes you or it's fun, it helps you grind out the game. Those are good. I give the game 10 for the modes from launch and now. Maps, from then I would have gave an 8, and hopefully moving forward I was going to give it a 10. That is a somewhat disappointing. I can't give it a 10. I can't, because the lack of variety. The main selling point of the game was nighttime. When they was selling you the game, having interviews saying, yeah, there's nighttime. Yeah, they spoke about the kill streaks and how they were fun. Yeah, the kill streaks are fun. They're freaking amazing to get if you can get them. SPM is an Activision decision. It's not an Infinity Ward. I'm sorry if I called Infinity Ward some nasty things. Anyway, it's the maps. Alright, hold on. Let me start off with this. The regular maps for the 6v6 or the big maps, free fall, those are okay, but they're like a dime a dozen. Yes, you do have multiple pathways. Yes, you have multiple places you can get shot from, and it isn't gonna hold your hand. You really have to maneuver around and get to know this map and to really push forward. If you camp around too much and you don't get to know this map, it's really gonna restrict you for when you do start pushing and everybody else already knows this map, and you're screwed. You really are. Now that was back then. Yeah, I'll give it a 9 back then. Now I would have to give it a 7.5, mostly because there was a lack of nighttime modes. There's like one snowy map, just one, I think. Now don't get me wrong, when Modern Warfare campaign was amazing. Had nighttime modes, had some desert parts, had drone control, all kind of let you use the different kind of kill streaks and field upgrades and whatnot. It really introduces you to it. Good campaign with the storyline and all that. But the maps for this, moving forward, there was a lack of nighttime modes. There was a lack of small maps that would help you grind. It was mostly big ones that really screwed you over at the end. Mostly basically Piccadilly kind of maps. Ground War had big maps and they have this one small one, and I felt as if they could have did better because Mini Royale has they have like a ton of maps that come from Verdansk, and it's just random, and the circle is there, and you have your map there. and it felt as if they really should have turned those into ground war maps. Going forward, hopefully when Cold War, if Cold War takes over Warzone, they'll take those mini royale maps and turn them into ground war maps, or hopefully turn them into regular maps. I'm sorry, I ended up losing my thought. But yeah, hopefully going forward they take those maps from mini royale, or take those maps from Verdansk and change them up into the Modern Warfare's map. Hopefully, it would be really fun and interesting to see how those will go. They'll have to pick certain areas, but it would still be kind of cool to see that. Gunfight was okay for what it was. I enjoyed it. They had 3v3 gunfight, 2v2, I think 1v1 for once in a while. Snipers only, shotguns only, certain weapons. Tournaments, I really enjoyed those. If you win the tournament, you get the blueprints. That was really interesting to see. They never really put money on the line with the game. I understand, it's their choice. But moving forward, hopefully Warzone do like Fortnite does, and they have tournaments. Even though I do see the problem with that being, it's going to create more wolves and sheep, because you're going to have a lot of money hungry people chasing it. But anyway, continuing moving forward, ground war maps are decent, but I would hope for, they have realism. When I expected realism, I wanted nighttime mode for ground war. I really wanted nighttime mode. Again, they had a lacking of nighttime modes. They, in my humble opinion, you were talking about nighttime modes like it was going to be 50-50 daytime modes, nighttime modes. Some were going to be exclusive nighttime modes, some were going to be exclusive daytime modes, and most of them was going to be flip-flopping in between. That's what I expected. I was completely wrong, and I did not know what to do with myself, because it was kind of boring. Now, don't get me wrong, by all means, I understand that you can't have nighttime modes and daytime modes flip-flopping, because some people make their guns for daytime with their scopes, and some make them for nighttime. By all means, I completely understand, but it would have shook the game up so good, and it was a waste of potential. Now, moving over to Spec Ops. Xbox players did not miss a thing, because when it dropped, there was barely any content. They said that Spec Ops was supposed to take the story and push it over into Spec Ops, and it was going to be continuing the story from there. That was actually a lie. It was more like you were just bounty hunting, or you were just getting intel, and the real story came from Warzone when Warzone dropped. So there was no real, case in point for Spec Ops. If anything, they should have turned Spec Ops into like war from World War II, where you had one team fighting the other team trying to gain the advantage. They should have did something like that, but instead they wanted to take from the older Modern Warfares, which in my humble opinion, if that was the case, I would have just took the older maps from the Modern Warfares and then just put them in this one. Just take, I don't know, probably 10 and then just put them in. And if you're doing another Modern Warfare, then add those and keep going, and then add in some new ones to keep it fresh and sprinkle it up a little bit. Add in the mechanics you need and keep it going. But there's no real point for Spec Ops. It didn't even level up my gun like Zombie does for Cold War. There's no point of it whatsoever, unless you want a variant for a gun. So there's basically no point whatsoever of even having it in there. The game as a whole, when it first released and I was more interested into it, I would give it a 9. Now, I feel as if I have to give it an 8.3. Yeah, I have to give it an 8.3 on this. There's no real case in point for it. The game just kind of just fell off for the other modes and maps. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say at this point. Really, due to the simple. Now, the gunsmith, I do give them a 10 for that though. I give them a 10 for the gun challenges. They should have added in more dots. They really should have. They really should have added in some different dots and some somewhat different camos. But other than that, that's all I gotta say. If you have any complaints or different versions, let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, peace.
Wake up. Quiet night. Quiet night.